Here's another quick layer challenge because you can never practice layers enough. Let's do this one real quick. And it's getting the ellipse tool. And let's go put our properties panel over here, and let's get our layers panel out here. You don't have to drag this out every time. I just like to have it close by. So let's create a new layer. Let's call this Circle 1. Hold down Shift and drag to get a nice perfect circle. And we can duplicate this layer. Duplicate layer, I have a copy, and I can drag this over. But sometimes when I just use my mouse and I drag it over, it's not like perfectly lining up. I get these little pink smart guides that are going to help me snap things in position. But if you were to make a duplicate, hold down the Shift key and drag, and it'll kind of put it in this line for you. So you don't have to sit there and try to perfectly guess it. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to make a duplicate, right click, duplicate layer. I'm going to take that duplicate, I'm going to hold down Shift and drag, and it's going to just keep it right in the same line. Let's make these different colors. I can select my object, I have the move tool, I'm just selecting my object, clicking on it. Go over to appearance, I can change this to red. Click over here, I can change this to yellow. So the goal of the exercise is to create 3 circles and move them in the layering system to create this arrangement with the center circle on top of the other 2. So this is how I have it selected. See, the center is on the top. So what I want to do is I want to find this orange one. So this is the orange one. I can label these to make it easier on myself, but it's this one right here. I have it selected. I'm just going to move this on top. So that seems really simple, but what's great about this is I can have these overlap in any way imaginable. And once I label them, it makes it a lot easier. So if I had this as orange and yellow, I can go ahead. And this seems really basic, but when you have 50 layers, it is so good to be able to really understand that layering system. So the next thing we're going to talk about is photos. How do we add photos in Photoshop? We're going to talk about editing photos in future videos, but right now it's just about adding and bringing in photos into Photoshop. I get a lot of student questions about how do you bring photos in, and there's lots of different ways to bring in photos. So one of my favorite ways to bring in photos is using the frame tool. So what the frame tool does is it creates, let's go ahead and find it over here on our toolbar. This is the frame tool. And what it does is it helps to bring in photos in a predetermined shape. So let's say I know I want to have a photo this rectangular size. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the frame tool. I'm going to click and drag and go ahead and try to form a rectangle. So you'll see this little cross lines. That means that's a frame, and that you can drag in photos from your computer right into the frame. It'll automatically populate in that shape and crop it right there on that shape. So let's take a photo that I've downloaded online, and I can click and drag this just right over it. Just going to click it right in. It's going to automatically populate and frame it. And I could take the move tool. I can move this around, move my frame around. Let's say I want to zoom in on her but keep the same frame. I can double click on the image. So I'm going to try that again. It's going to select it, double click on the image, and then I can take these transform controls and I can make her a little bit bigger, and it still keeps the frame size, which is really nice. I can press on enter, and there she is cropped and there. We're going to create that again. So we are going to create a frame. Got our frame tool. Let's match this rectangle right here perfectly. Let's go ahead and bring an image in. It could be any image. And here's the challenge. Extend the frame to cover this space and frame the photo properly in the extended space. So as we studied before, we can double click the photo and be able to crop the photo within this frame, but I want to be able to extend that frame outward. So I'm going to kind of zoom in so you can kind of see what I'm selecting here. So I'm going to click the frame. You'll see like a little blue outline. I'm going to click it again. I'm going to be able to bring it out and extend it outwards. Press enter. So you'll notice I extended the frame. See how I extended it out? But the photo is cropped right there. So what I need to do is double click the photo and extend that out. just like that. So that's one way to bring in photos. There's many different ways. We can also do it with a circle. If I go up to my frame tool right here, you'll notice an extra circle option has loaded up here at the top. So we could click on circle, and then we can create a circle frame and drag it into a circle space. We could double click the photo to move the photo around, maybe crop it, get the move tool, get those transform controls. That's how you get the transform controls, is you go to the move tool and then I press enter. Or if I want to change the frame, I just select the frame and bring it out. There's other ways to add photos. I'm going to show you really quickly. You can go to File, New. I'm just going to create a new document. I'm just going to create what we already had. Go down to Create. I can do a file place. So this is another way to bring in photos. You go to File. You're going to go down to Place Embedded. And we're going to be able to place an embedded photo. And it'll just bring it in. Press Enter. And we have a separate photo layer that you can make a little bit bigger, and it works really well. That's one way to do it. There's another way I like to do it. You can drag a photo right in there without a container. So let's say we're in here and I can just drag it right in. You don't have to have a frame. You do not have to have a frame, but what it's going to do is it's going to bring it in at like a full resolution. So you just have to take it and then scale it how you like to. So a couple different ways to bring in photos. You could just drag them right in. You can drag them into a frame, whatever you'd like to do. So next thing we're going to do is the brush tool. We're going to do brush tool work later on when we talk about layering masks, and that's a couple other more intermediate kind of tools. So let's go ahead and get started with the brush tool.